Greetings and salutations, my name is JW608, and today we're playing Starmade. And you may notice I've done just a little work on the ship we've been working on. I've been itching to build, so I started hulling it up. The only systems I added were this handful of thrusters in these decorative doodads, which is not a good idea, but we'll explain that once we get to thrusters. And I've been playing with turrets, so I slapped some turrets down. We'll look at more at those later. In fact, I might pull those off and get a different design. But anyway, you're not here for that. You're here for the shields and the obligatory 608. This thing's going to end up being a monster. It's going to end up being 600 meters long. Alright. Anyway, shields. I have in my hand, I have some shield rechargers and shield capacitors. Now, in the old days, it just plopped down these blocks and just anywhere, any nook and cranny. Oh, there's some space in between this support and this room. I'm going to fill it with shield stuff. And you're good to go as long as you can get as many shields as you can. All that has changed. Now, shield placement is incredibly important. That's one of the reasons I went ahead and did a little hull work, trying to get a little more of the ship shape realized, so I have a better idea of where to place these shields. And I do know I want a shield here, and this segment here is going to be filled with all types of important systems and chambers, and you're going to have to do this when you look at your ship. Say, where are the vital spots? This is going to be like the rib cage of the ship. That's its heart. The reactor is its heart. You want to protect the heart and the rib cage. So I'm going to come down to here, this little area here. I originally was going to put the reactor, but it's far too small for that. I'm going to throw down just a wall full of reactor blocks. I'm not counting them, I'm just kind of going by size. Alright. And I have symmetry mode on. And that didn't quite work because this segment here is not perfectly symmetrical. Awesome. Alright. We'll deal. But I want the shields to be symmetrical. Why is that? Well, you'll notice when I put the shields down, something strange happened. See that? I created a bubble. Let me get further away from the ship. See the bubble? This is a shield bubble. Alright, let me explain that. This bubble is not the shield. This is not the shield. If I was to take, if Isanth was to come by and lob a missile, the missile would not come and hit this bubble and be absorbed. No, the missile would pass through and hit this block, then calculate the shields. Once again, the bubble is not the shield. The bubble tells you the radius of effect for the reactor, the shield reactor. And you have multiple reactor groups. So this group of shield reactors I have will only protect the blocks that are in the bubble. So right now you can come up and you can shoot that right there and it's shielded. You shoot this, it's not shielded. No, there's not going to be an awful lot of shields. I think I don't have any HP for shields. So it's not going to actually help because there are no capacitors attached to it. But you're saying, oh my, this bubble is way too small. Well, there's a couple things you can do about that. First of all, you notice how the front end of this wing is just not being covered by the bubble. I want it to be covered by the bubble. So let's go back and help fix that a bit. Let's see, I also don't want to fill that teleporter with shields. And you can also see the recharge. So now it has 136,000 recharge. Did that go? Oh, it went under it. Very good. We're going to do it at 204,000. And also notice the bubble is extended. The larger your reactor, the larger your reactor, the larger the bubble. See? And the reactors are different bubbles. So if I put a reactor down here, it's a new reactor. In fact, there are two here, and it does not like overlapping bubbles. So let's do like that. There we go. There are two bubbles. and you can cycle through them using the previous and next. It tells you the position. I've not been able to decipher exactly how that works, or decipher the positioning. It's probably really easy, I just haven't taken the time. But you can also tell, oh, this is the big one because it's 204,000. And this is the little one recharging at 125. So let's undo those. And the other thing about the bubble is capacitors. Shield capacitors only affect the shield, or the primary shield that they're in the bubble of. So I can throw some shield capacitors. I don't want to throw them in there because, again, I'm going to use this as chambers. What if we throw them against this wall here? And there'll be 2 groups of them. Capacitors don't have to be touching like reactors do. So that gives me capacity 1.3 million. And actually, that didn't take too long. It recharges at 200. Let's throw another set of there, and there we go, 2.6 million. That is a hefty shield. And so now if you were to shoot this, you'd have to get rid of the 2.6 million shields and before you start hitting a, what is that? Armor. Upkeep. Let's see, I did find this. Shields. Here we go. A group of shield rechargers creates a shield range, what I've been calling the shield bubble, from the group of center mass. So that's why I put it on the center line. I use the symmetry mostly to help me keep track the center line. That's why I have the symmetry, because it doesn't have to be symmetrical, but it helps me keep on the center line so I don't have my shields lopsided. So that's mostly an aesthetic thing. You don't have to do that. Let's see, go back to shields. All shield capacitors within the shield range increase that shield's capacity. All blocks within the shield range are protected, including docked entities. Docked entities no longer have their own shields, so if I was to put 10 bazillion shields on this turret right here, once it docks, this is its shield right here, not the 10 bazillion on it. So you can't shield it itself, or you can't have its independent shields. It uses the mothership shields. So if you plan to have something huge docked, it might be a good idea to put or make sure your range covers it. Maybe even having a range, or put the shields right at the dock. But let's see. In this case, since they're little turrets, I'm not going to have to worry about that. In fact, it covers my hangars as well, so I'm not worrying about that. Let's see. Shields. And to get to this, it's just the quick building reference at the left here in advanced build mode. Let's see, if another shield recharger is in a group within range, the smaller one is disabled. So, if I set a second reactor here, notice that bubble's red. That means this one is disabled, it's the smaller shield. So right here doesn't get a shield, an extra shield, only gets one shield. So blocks can only be protected by one group of rechargers. Let's see. Oh, I thought it told you about upkeep. Upkeep. 51999.9. I believe for your size of your capacity, let me make sure that's true before I lie to you. Oh, click. No, that did not increase my upkeep. Didn't it? That's probably because those are reactors, not capacitors. No, stop that. There you go. See, upkeep went up with the larger, more capacitors. That's because you can't have a single block of recharge with 9 million capacitors. You have to have a minimum recharge for the shields to work. So let's say I have another shield range, I don't know. Now let's throw a second one back here. So the back end of the ship will be protected. So let's throw another reactor. Now, most of this is stabilizers, and there are going to be engines back here and decorative bits, so I don't need it as big as the first. So we're going to do like a 11 by 11 by 11 plus symmetry. Alright. So this is only protecting this back portion here. Everything up here is going to be protected by the main shield. But you see, it has recharge of 39,000, which is not what I wanted. I wanted to put down a... Oh, what happened? I wanted to put down a recharger first, or capacitor first. There we go. And a single recharger. There we go. See, it has... Where's upkeep? Oh, those aren't range. So let's... I'm trying to break it, and it's not letting me do it right. Or not letting me break its system properly. There, because they have to be in the range of the bubble. So now it's using all those capacitors. And you also see the upkeep is now 15,000. The current HP is 0. Because I don't have 15,000 recharge, it's not going to charge at all. So if I throw these down, that should be more than 15,000. See, now it's recharging. So now you can't have a single reactor and say, oh yes, I can have 1,000,000 shields with 25 shield recharge. No, it doesn't work like that anymore. So that should probably be enough for here. This is going to be an incredibly expensive ship to build. And also, probably a good idea to have secondary shields, because if for some reason this main shield was to go out, this one would also kick in and protect these back turrets. Of course, I imagine that back shield will probably go out much sooner. Then again, also as things get shot out, the reactors get shot out, it'll probably cause smaller shields, shield bubbles. And let's stick one on the front here. And the one on the front here, I want it to be a little beefier because it's going to be probably shot at more than the others two, I hope. Oh no, see all the red? That's because two shield blocks are together like that, too close. Alright. And they have to be in the same group to be considered the same shield generator. That's doing that much. Let's give it some more. There we go. So now it's roughly equivalent and recharged to the main grouping. Let's come back this way and give it just a handful of whatever these are. Capacitors. And the capacitors don't have to, as I've said before, do not have to be in the same group. Let's do... I'm also not looking at the right one. There we go. Yeah, 3,000,000 shields is probably sufficient for the front. But I want it to be a little more in the front, so we're going to go back to 4. Because this is the bit, it's going to be the nose piece, the weapons and the guns are going to be up here. It's going to be, hopefully, the point that's facing the enemy. So, I want it to be stronger. If you don't like looking at the bubble, just take off the shield block out of the hotbar, and you have it in the hotbar, you can see, and you can see clearly that every portion of the ship is now covered in shield bubbles. In fact, if the central does go down, the reactor does a backup bubble now from the front there. So reactor should be right there-ish. Okay. That's just the basics of shields. Now You might need to scale it down or up, depending on the size of your ship. In fact, this is probably very much overkill, but that's the whole point of this ship. This is an overkill ship. It's going to be incredibly expensive. It's going to make my computer cry when I try to run it. It's going to be great. Anywho, I've been JW608. This has been Starmade. I'll take you cats later.